Raj, do you want gravy? You've got savoury chips there, so why don't you have sauce with them today?
I don't want chips then.
Notice that Raj's mom doesn't just ask him if he wants gravy with his chips. She goes from asking if he wants gravy with his chips to trying to convince him to have gravy with his chips. When he says he doesn't want any chips at all.
Well, I've put them in now, you're going to have to eat them.
For the past year, Raj has been suffering from severe migraines and he's gained a lot of weight.
You notice that eye roll? Believe it or not, I have been in a similar situation.
Do you want a flipper dipper, Raj?
Whatever.
Hello everybody, it is me, I am back. So perhaps you may recall that a few months ago I made a video where I talked not just about the fat acceptance movement on TikTok, but about my opinion on the cringe genre in general. And I got this comment: yuck, if you want to hate fat people, can you at least not try to mask your bigotry with health awareness bullcrap? Someone else being overweight actually doesn't affect you at all. Isn't that weird? If you're bothered by it, that's all you and has nothing to do with anyone else but your own weirdness. You're not a doctor. They didn't ask you for medical advice. Fat acceptance is literally just saying you still have value if you don't want to lose weight, despite everyone else telling you otherwise. You disagreeing with that literally does make you a bigot. So the part of that comment that is actually true is that I'm not a doctor. I mentioned that I was in school until very recently and that I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. But let it be known, that was not med school. I never claimed to be in med school. I never claimed to be a doctor.
If a doctor demands that I lose weight, I fire that doctor and get a better doctor.
But it is funny because people in this movement, they only go to fat acceptance doctors who don't weigh them. Not everybody, but a lot of them do.
I know that not everybody can do that. I know it is a privilege to be able to do that. I know it is a privilege that I am able to advocate for myself in the ways that I do. I am able to educate my doctors.
I agree with the concept that if I disagreed that people had value regardless of their weight, that I would be a bigot, but I literally said the exact opposite in the video that this person refused to watch. The part of the comment that really grinds my gears, especially since I mentioned this in the comment section of the video, my dad was morbidly obese. I use the past tense to refer to my dad, not because he lost weight, but because he died. He died in his 50s. So I would argue that my dad's weight did have quite an effect on me. I lived with a man. I know for damn sure that he didn't become overweight. He didn't become morbidly obese because, this adipose tissue just snuck up on him overnight. My dad ate fast food and fast food and fast food and fast food. And a lot of convenience store crap, lots of sweets. My parents were divorced, so from my mom's household, I got a good sense of what is like a normal way to eat. For example, when you bake a cake, you don't eat the entire cake in one day. If I had only lived with my dad, I would have thought that was normal. I learned from my mom that you have one piece of cake and that you spread it out over time, and then that cake that's meant for a whole family might last you for a week, maybe even more. He liked to order donuts. He would put butter on the glazed donuts and then microwave them until they were nice and melty. And to be honest, I did try that and it did taste pretty good. But I would argue that he did not set the best example for us. And since he fed himself fast food day in and day out, never had any fresh food, what do you think he fed me? What do you think I was made to eat every time I was with him? Even though I didn't even like all of the fast food. I absolutely hated McDonald's. Do you want to know why? Because McDonald's, they chop up their onions extra fine. They dice them. Any other fast food burger joint, they just slice the onions. It's very easy to take the onions out of the burger if you don't like onions. But oh my God, McDonald's, they would be all diced up and they'd be mixed in the sauce. And I'd take one bite and I'd taste onion. And when I was a kid, I didn't like onion, obviously. As an adult, my palate changed, but I hated eating McDonald's and I was made to eat that all the time, and I wouldn't finish my food because I thought it was gross, and he would get all angry with me because I was wasting food. It was a whole big thing, okay? So there have been some documentaries that were more recently published onto the YouTubes, although they aired on, I believe, Channel 4 quite a while ago. So for example, Junk Food Kids, that one aired in 2015 and was uploaded on YouTube I think a few months ago. Fast Food Baby, that was uploaded on YouTube a couple of years ago, but one of the babies, it said that he was born in 2009, so this show must have aired over a decade ago. Those kids are probably teenagers now. Generation XXL, my favorite title, Too Fat to Toddle. Now you have some parents in this show, they are dealing with some significant behavioral issues.
Michael.
Eat. Come on.
Michael.
The trouble is, the more they try and control his eating,
Michael.
the more Michael rebels.
One different dinner. Decent dinner.
That's terrible behaviour, Tegan.
It's not that the parents are unwilling to cook healthy food or that they're not knowledgeable on the issues that can arise from only eating junk food.
I actually love cooking, and I'll cook dinners fresh from scratch. We eat pretty healthily, to be honest, yeah.
The problem is that when they put a salad on the kid's plate, World War III breaks out.
Don't eat salad.
Stop! If you don't want the salad, don't eat the salad. Stop.
Touch my potato.
Right, I'm taking it away from you. You can have your cry, I'm ignoring you now.
Yeah. That was very... No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Very naughty. Very naughty. Yes, naughty.
This is what it's like every meal time.
It's not going to eat that, is it?
No.
And I think that it could be helpful for other parents or future parents to watch that and to learn how to introduce nutritious food to their children in a way that isn't hostile and it's going to be something that they're going to want to eat. I think that that is important to show.
You actually used a very interesting phrase. You said, don't play with your food, Michael. And I know we're all brought up not to play with our food.
Right, yeah.
And I thought, actually, what we want him to do is play with his food. His table manners will come later.
But then you also have some other parents on these documentaries that just like...
Yes, it is big, but when you're big, you look cuddly, you look well, you look better. And that's the way I see Bethany. She looks well, you know, she's got colour in her cheeks all the time. She wouldn't be Bethany if she wasn't big.
They're not having it.
You've missed all the good food out, Tyler. It's alright. Pasta. No, I don't like it. It takes ages to make. So if you're going to buy pasta, buy a pasta pot. Can I have some of your chocolate, please?
No.
A little bite.
No.
Don't care at all about feeding their kids healthy food.
The school dinners is very limited, very healthy food. I don't agree with it. I think people should just eat what they want to eat. If it's going to make them happy, eat it. When we were kids, we could eat anything we want. Anything. Chips, which I used to love. Fast food's never done me any harm and never done my family any harm.
What is it that I keep hearing, that food has no moral value or something?
Now, there are a few words that I don't allow when somebody comes into my house, and healthy is one of them. Mostly because I want my children to be raised to trust their bodies and to know what is best for their bodies.
Kelly is one of the parents who's unhappy about the school's policy on healthy eating.
The way the schools are going on about the food and stuff like that, I think it's wrong.
This actually reminded me of that Smarter in Seconds video.
The only foods that are bad for you are foods that contain allergens, poisons, and contaminants, or food that is spoiled or is otherwise inedible.
Eat without guilt, regardless of what society says.
The LA Parent Union shared this video on Twitter claiming that the LA Unified School District promoted this video, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
I got us donuts. Those are so bad for you. Oh no, are they moldy? I mean, are they poisoned? Are you allergic? No, I'm just saying. You're judging my food choices based on a false standard of health again, aren't you? Guilty.
I was thinking that maybe Bethany's mom would want to send her kid to a school that taught this instead of, oh my goodness, some foods are healthy and some foods are not.
They must have been doing something at school on healthy eating or something like that. And
Yeah, that's it. Healthy eating.
she was like a bit upset about it, and she went, Ma'am, she says, me teacher says I'm not allowed to eat sweets because they're very unhealthy for you. I says, I'm your mum. I says, and if I say you can eat sweets, you can eat sweets. I says, I don't care what anyone says.
I am curious to see, like, psychologically what's going on there, because I feel like they have some of these parents on these shows for shock value more than anything else. But I wonder if there's something, like, deeper psychologically that's going on. Maybe she grew up food insecure, and that's why she would rather have her kid pile on the pounds than be skinny and starving. Those aren't the only two options, but maybe in her head, those are the only two options, where either you're skinny and you're starving, or you have more food than you need.
She looks well. You know, she's got colour in her cheeks all the time.
Okay, so there's that. There's parents who are just kind of lazy and negligent and just aren't interested in feeding their kids healthy food.
Does she snack quite frequently?
She does snack. I won't say she eats it's always sweet stuff that she's snacking on, but she does like sweet stuff. But I have cut her down. So as she got older, it went from formula to cow's milk to juice.
Most parents and most children know the right answers to the questions you ask them. You say to them, does he eat sweets? Not often. He only has it with a meal. How many times does he brush his teeth a day? Do you think any parent's going to say to me, never? They say, twice. Every parent knows what the right answer is. So, of course, we have to be a detective.
Now, I know that's my fault, but it was easier for me on a night to give her a bottle of juice than to try and sit up with her all night and try and get her back to sleep. I did notice it started to damage her teeth at the front. And obviously, you know, they've just got worse.
And there are some parents who they feed themselves shit food, and so that's what they're gonna show to their kids, and that's the only option available to their children.
Harley's diet really does need to change now, because otherwise he will think it's the norm to eat what Taylor's giving him. It's just not healthy.
Now with Raj...
Now that Raj's parents know that their son has fatty liver, it will be up to them to get their son healthy again.
This is a lazy evening, lazy tea. I tend to cook from scratch, but today I'm just doing a lazy tea, so...
Mom says that she makes home-cooked meals, but Channel 4 did her dirty, and they never showed her actually putting in the effort. They only showed her as somebody who was throwing shade at her son for gaining weight.
Until a few years ago, you won't believe he was like a matchstick. And then suddenly he became inactive, didn't you? And that's when the weight just piled on. And that's when he started having the problems. Isn't it? Mm.
You can see her do this side eye of like, oh, that's when he put the weight on. Whereas like, ma'am, you're not a matchstick either. You know, you're also a bit overweight as well. And you're the one feeding him.
I sometimes think that maybe I should have been more careful with his diet. But then again, I don't want to cut out completely what he enjoys, but slowly change things. And I'm hoping that, yes, we can reverse his liver problems.
We don't see Raj on his hands and knees begging to eat unhealthy food. We saw him first refuse your unhealthy food, and then you rolled your eyes at him and got frustrated. And then after he went to the doctor and found out that he had fatty liver.
In the long run, fatty liver can lead to liver damage and even liver failure. It's actually pretty unusual for kids to get a fatty liver.
6 months ago, Raj was told he has a condition called fatty liver that people of South Asian origin can be more at risk of getting. Today he'll find out if he's managed to lose weight.
Because even though he's not hugely overweight, when I look at Raj, I don't immediately think, oh yeah, that kid is overweight. But I guess since I live in America and the majority of people here are overweight and obese, and maybe that just looks normal to me now.
Now, you're obviously unlucky because you are overweight, not enormous, but there's something about you that means there's a tendency for the fat to go to your liver.
Right after they get this big wake-up call, the mom says that she wants to cook a lazy dinner. You can be lazy and still give your kid actual vegetables. I don't mean chips or fries, as we like to call them. I mean like the green stuff. I have vegetables in my freezer. You can just pop them in the microwave in the bag and steam them, and it takes less time than to put the chips in the oven. That wasn't just food that Raj was eating, that was food for the whole family. So I think that she was just feeding her son food that she wanted to eat and then blaming him, even though at best he sounded indifferent.
Do you want a flipper dipper, Raj?
Whatever.
Is that a yes or a no?
Whatever. Yeah.
And at worst, he just straight up didn't want it, and she tried to pressure him into eating it.
Raj, do you want gravy? You've got savoury chips there, so why don't you have sauce with them today?
I don't want chips though.
Well, I've put them in now, you're going to have to eat them.
It's ridiculous, but I'm glad that at least the dad tried to get things in order and tried to get him to exercise. But you know what they say, abs are made in the kitchen.
You've actually put on quite a bit of weight since we saw you last time.
I was actually expecting a lot of people to cuss out the mom because...
For the past year, Raj has been suffering from severe migraines and he's gained a lot of weight. His mother Jazz blames his love of computer games.
His routine now is he'll come from school, he'll have something to eat, and then it's in front of the TV on his computer.
She blamed his love of video games, and I've seen enough of these commentary channels where they're doing their commentary for the video game play, and I was like, this especially is going to make them very mad. But everybody was mad about Natalie, whose daughter Tallulah had to get 8 teeth pulled.
Tallulah, you know your teeth, do they hurt every day? Does the pain ever wake you up at night? Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
That one hurts me. That one hurts me. That one hurts me. All of them hurt me at the bottom. At the bottom? And some hurt me at the top.
There are some parents who will put their own convenience before the well-being of the child. Really badly decayed lower back teeth on this side. She's got an abscess at the top. They're all decayed down here as well. Does she brush twice a day though? Or only once?
Sometimes it can be twice,
but mainly
a lot
once.
of it just once.
There's this part where she broke down crying because her poor Tallulah was too big to fit in clothes for her age.
All little girls' clothes that are in her section are all Princess Sophia and Peppa Pig. You know, little characters like that she loves, but she's too big for them. She can't wear them. And it absolutely breaks my heart. Honestly, it breaks my heart. But what can I do? I do try.
She said, what can I do? I do try, even though earlier in the documentary, They had a dentist appointment, but Mom Natalie just couldn't be bothered to get up in time and prioritize that dentist appointment. And so they just missed it because they were too late.
A lesson in how to brush your teeth. Obviously, she's still only 4 and, you know, it's quite difficult to get her to brush her teeth properly as it is. Never mind do it in circles and brush these this way and that way. They're not interested in brushing the teeth, really.
When she was back home, she kind of scoffed at the idea, even though her kid was in so much pain.
Why would you want to brush your teeth when you can sit downstairs and watch a bit of, you know, Peppa Pig or do something else, you know? It's like it's a chore for her.
And then she continued feeding both of her kids horrible food because she can't handle them whining at her. At least in this situation, sometimes we saw the mom start off by saying no before she would eventually give in to her kid. But this other mom just took the cake.
Veg, Taylor. What have I heard? Or white veg?
The kid wasn't, again, like Raj, wasn't on his hands and knees begging to eat the unhealthy food. The mom wanted to eat the unhealthy food. Therefore, she gave the kid unhealthy food. And when they're at the grocery store and he says that he wants a pear, no.
I got one of them pears. I like pears.
You've never tasted a pear?
Later on, she's like, oh yeah, I just never say no to my kid.
Everything I've got, he wants.
Okay. And if you say you can't have it?
I don't think I've ever said he can't, I just give it him.
I got one of them pears.
And she makes it sound like the issue is that she's too permissive when you did say no to the kid when he wanted a pear. So it's not about you not knowing how to say no to your kid. It's about you just not caring about his nutrition enough to give him the pear that he asked for.
Last time Taylor had a vegetable, it was from the kebab shop, deep fried in the form of chips with cheese on top. If she carries on the way she is, she's going to end up obese. So you're never going to get fat.
And she just didn't seem to care at all about making some sacrifices that were mildly inconvenient or uncomfortable in the beginning in order for her and her family to have a greater outcome later on. She was just very negligent and lazy. Reminded me of my dad.
I exercise. Well, how do you exercise?
Run around after Harley.
To the shop.
To buy a bottle of Liquid.
And a packet of Watsits, that's it.
To exercise.
I do have a lot more to say about these documentaries because, as you can tell, I have watched a lot of them. But I also wanted to talk about the other side, which is weight loss, especially since it's a new year. A lot of people have their New Year's resolutions to lose weight, and I wanted to talk about this particularly atrocious weight loss show, but I can't. I've not filmed the video, but it already exists in my mind. There is a particular clip from this weight loss show that's just burned itself into my memory for the last 13 years. And I needed to find this clip, but I couldn't find it on YouTube. And my video would be incomplete without that specific clip. Hence why we have this video. One of my New Year's resolutions is to post more often on my YouTube channel. And I'm shooting for more than once a month. We shall see if I'm successful with that, but if I am, I will see you later on this month. Happy January, and let me know if you have any New Year's resolutions.